On January 20th, 1996, 3 teenage girls in a small Brazilian town reported seeing a creature crouched against a wall. Not human, not an animal, with red eyes and skin like nothing they'd ever seen. Within days, the military had reportedly sealed off parts of the town. A soldier connected to the case would later be dead within weeks. Some stories were never meant to be found. Varginha, a coffee-growing town of around 100,000 people in southeastern Brazil. An ordinary Saturday afternoon, nothing to suggest the town was about to become known internationally as Brazil's Roswell. A week earlier, a pilot flying nearby had reported something unusual. A cigar-shaped object, losing altitude and trailing smoke, that seemed to be in distress before disappearing from view over open countryside. On the afternoon of January 20th, 3 young women were walking through a quiet residential area when they came across a creature crouched against a wall in a vacant lot. They described it as small, bipedal, with a large head, thin, oily brown skin, and large red eyes. Nothing they could immediately identify as anything they'd seen before. 2 of the sisters ran, terrified, telling their mother they'd seen the devil. Within days, rumors were spreading through town. A second creature reportedly found along a nearby road, military trucks sent to retrieve it, and another sighting at the local zoo, where several animals mysteriously died in the following months. Local radio picked up the story first, airing an emotional interview with the young women. Newspapers followed within 48 hours, and the story quickly became national news across Brazil. Residents reported military trucks and soldiers in what looked like hazmat gear moving through town, along with unusual activity at the regional hospital. Details that, whatever their explanation, were consistently observed by multiple unconnected witnesses. On January 23rd, witnesses reported a military convoy leaving Varginha, allegedly carrying recovered specimens toward a university research facility for examination. Then, on February 7th, a young military police officer named Marco Eli Shereze, reportedly one of the men involved in transporting a creature, was hospitalized with severe pain and paralysis in his arm. Shereze underwent surgery to remove an abscess. Days later, he died of a rapidly spreading infection. Some who worked the case would later claim, without medical confirmation, that the bacteria behaved unlike anything they recognized. The Brazilian army launched a formal inquiry into the incident. Its conclusion was blunt. The creature the young women encountered was most likely a local resident with a physical and intellectual disability, known to often crouch in that same area of town. The military activity, investigators said, was routine, vehicle maintenance, and standard troop movements coincidentally overlapping with the panic already spreading through Varginha. Decades later, witnesses have continued coming forward. In recent years, individuals claiming to be former soldiers involved in the operation have testified publicly that a creature was recovered, transported, and eventually handed over to American personnel. The official explanation accounts for a great deal. Mistaken identity is common in mass panic situations, and a frightening, sudden encounter can easily distort perception, especially among young witnesses at dusk. It accounts for routine military movement being misread as something sinister by a town already primed, by rumor, to see conspiracy in every truck that passed. It does not explain the pilot's earlier report of a damaged, descending object days before any of this began, nor the consistency between 3 independent witnesses describing near-identical, unusual physical details. And it does not explain the death of Corporal Shereze, a real soldier, a real infection, and a real connection to the case that his own family says the military pressured them to bury quickly, without further examination. Some stories were never meant to be found. This one left 3 terrified witnesses, a dead soldier, and a military inquiry that closed the case faster than the questions around it ever stopped. Tell me in the comments, a frightened misidentification that spiraled out of control, or Brazil's own Roswell, quietly handed off and covered up. That's Category 1, complete. Subscribe to the Unburied. Category 2 starts next.